Hello and welcome to the latest from Hearts Standard. My name is Joel Sked and I'm not joined by my colleague James today. He is off, but he will be back tomorrow to preview the Celtic game. But at the moment, I thought it would be good to jump on and look back at the Hearts AGM, which took place this morning. Well, it started this morning, carried on into the afternoon, and so for those who are watching, feel free to fire questions in and I'll do my best to answer them. But I thought it would be good to jump on, talk about the AGM before going into the Foundation Hearts AGM, which starts at 6 o'clock, and see, can cover the various topics. And I suppose this was a long AGM. It lasted nearly 2.5 hours, started at 11, got out about 1:30, meaning there was plenty of topics to cover. I suppose the best place to start would be Naismith, probably. There was obviously a lot of questions from the shareholders present around the management, both the appointment and the performances this season. And there was also talk within the board's the time they spoke before they got to the questions. So Anne Budge spoke, Andrew McKinley spoke at length, Jackie Duncan, Finance Secretary, she also spoke, but not about Naismith's position. But I think one shareholder probably made the point about the style of football and said he was completely underwhelmed by it. Now, this was met by applause from the vast majority in the room. There was maybe 300 to 400 shareholders there, and yeah, it probably best summed up the mood amongst those in attendance. The shareholder, admitted he was behind the appointment to begin with, but that has changed just with the way, the direction of how the team has performed. So firstly, we'll kind of look at what was the view from the board of the current performances. Both Budge and McKinley admitted I think they held their hands up, and there was aspects of the performances that they've struggled to watch this season. There was talk of where one fan mentioned how they would like to see the team pass the ball forward a lot more. Budge, she said, yeah, I would like to see that too. So in terms of the performances, that's something that the board admitted that style that's went from kind of played a big factor in Steven Naismith getting the job during his interim spell, has not really carried over into the season so far. And then you look at you can kind of bring in Joe Savage, sport director in the recruitment. He kind of held his hands up that maybe they've not got he took responsibility. Maybe the players that brought in maybe weren't the type that suits Naismith and what he wants to bring. After all, this is a team that finished against Aberdeen on Saturday, kind of not looking like it was going to score a second goal, kind of holding on to what they got. That was something that Steven Naismith said he never wanted to do, but that's what it looked like at the weekend. And then he also finished with essentially a back five, like all five had played centre back at one point in the Hearts career. You could argue 4 of them are actually centre backs, and Stephen Kingsley, Craig Halkett, Frankie Kent, Kai Rhodes, and obviously you had Alex Cochrane. So yes, something's not gone correctly. And you do look at it, Naismith wanted to play a 4-2-3-1, and he's now been playing a back five. So yeah, that's not what their initial thoughts in the summer in terms of recruitment, what was expected, the style has not kind of transpired. Now, I think a lot of people will be wondering, it's like, is he under pressure? Now, the board were never going to come out and say, he's got X amount of games to kind of to save his job. It's noted that there's a difficult run coming up, starting with Celtic on Saturday. Budge spoke very highly of Naismith. She talked about how, when in the conversations she's had with Naismith, that he's talked about the mentality of players, that he sees everything in training and then it gets onto the pitch and maybe they just struggle with maybe that pressure element of it. That's a big thing with Naismith, is he wants mentality of players to be able to handle the pressure of playing at Hearts. Of course, he played for Hearts, he played for Rangers, he played for big clubs and understands that. She said that she likes to give people time to assert their have time to get their points across and not be too rash in making decisions. McKinley's got a lot of time for Naismith, but to say that the sack is not a consideration was it's not quite true, because the McKinley noted the issue with we brought up the point of Robbie Neilson last season, that they understood that and said that Steven Naismith understands that the business of football is results, and if we don't get it, then what happens is you get removed from your post, as happened with Robbie Neilson. They did talk about how Steven Naismith was just off the manager of the month from November. That prompted a laugh from a lot of people in attendance, and he talks about how Hearts have got a game in hand, so when it go into third place. However, the game against Dundee, which is the game in hand, doesn't take place until January, so Hearts have got Celtic this weekend. There's every chance that they won't be 3 points behind third. They might be more points behind them. So yeah, that was kind of the focus around the first team performances. Essentially, they understand the frustration, of the fans. The style was not what they hoped for, what Steven Naismith hoped for. That maybe recruitment has played a part in that. Now, in terms of the appointment of Steven Naismith, this is something that I'll get the quote up here, because I tweeted out, this is something that will no doubt annoy or a point that fans will disagree with. McKinley said on Naismith's appointment, there was not another immediately available option which was definitely less risky and more attractive. That's probably a point that fans are going to disagree with and take issue with. McKinley did say that there were other candidates considered. They spoke to directly or indirectly. He didn't name names because of the people they spoke to were. I think he said all of them were in roles at that time. Obviously, Marty Cifuentes was probably the most. He didn't name names, but Marty Cifuentes, as reported in various publications, was someone who's considered. Now he's at Queen's Park Rangers. They felt that Naismith, with the style of the team during the interim spell, the mitigating factors around results. Hearts did only win 2 of the 7, a couple of games down to 10 men, but they showed up well against Celtic and Rangers. And then the big thing was around the final game of the season, where there was this energy, there was the reaction after the draw against Hibs, and they felt that there was a big not all, but there was a lot of people that thought Naismith was the right man to take the team forward. Now, I know there'll be a lot of Hearts fans that disagree with you, or probably maybe changed their view since then. But that was a focus then. Rather than me blabber on for ages, I'll look at some of the comments and see if I can answer any questions. Mark Graham said, "Hi Joel, I do find that the board's saying they sounded out other managers, but I felt Naisy was the best option winning. The standard of applicants can't have been that great if that's the case." So yeah, I think that, as I said, this is probably the point that's going to be, it's going to get a lot of Hearts fans backs up that the Hearts have gone down the route of bringing in a manager whose only real manager experience was the Lowland League with the Hearts B team, and surely there would be better out there. Andrew McKinley spoke about how they had a chat with Aberdeen and found that Aberdeen spoke about the difficulty of hiring a manager, and when they were replacing Jim Goodwin and they went down Barry Robson route. So there will have been managers who put their names forward, but essentially just they couldn't afford. They've just been out of Hearts' reach financially, and now I don't know the people who applied for the job other than Cifuentes. So it's hard to speculate how much experience these guys have, how good these managers are. But when you look at it, when you look at Cifuentes, on a personal level, having read a fair bit about him and his style of football, I wasn't sure if he'd be the right man just because of the type of football he wants to play and how it would work in Scottish football. Now, again, the style of football that Hearts have been playing at the moment, it probably doesn't work, and certainly doesn't work in Scottish football. But yeah, I can understand why there's skepticism about that kind of comment by McKinlay in terms of Naismith was the best, like the least risky of the managerial options considered. So Bourne, better 6-8. I feel we should not be taking applications for the next one. Identify someone and go and get them, preferable foreign as someone who's won a trophy. Says Bourne, better 6-8. Yeah, I think that's something where I think Hearts have been certainly talked about it in the past, where they're always got succession planning. I think that's a big thing for football clubs, is succession planning, where if they have to be wary that if their manager does really well and gets kind of taken away, or they have to replace a manager, that they should have options ready to go. Pop score 15 million staff costs. We deserve to demand more points for what we have this season. I don't think anyone can argue with that. Graham says Naismith wants to trim the squad and bring in more young players, but we have had young players on the bench and don't get a chance. So yeah, this is a really good point, Graham, actually, just about the size of the squad, January transfer window, aims and young players. So currently, Joe Savage said that the priority is a right back. I don't think that's a shock to anyone. Odell Afaire's obviously gone back to Brighton just because of his kind of health issues. We got Daniel Atkinson's the only other right back. He's just come back from a 2-month injury. So yeah, right back's a priority. And then after that, it's about probably reducing Naismith wants to reduce the size of the first team squad now, with the hope of freeing it up to allow younger players to get into the first team and have that experience. You could make the point that, because why don't just do it now and just basically say to the experienced squad members who don't have a long-term future at the club, just go, sorry, but you are not in a long-term future. We want to get these younger players in now. So I don't think there's a point to be made there. Do you really need to wait to get rid of some of the first team players to make room for the young players? Why not just do it straight away? Graham Stewart asked, Joe Savage says he thinks Naismith has the ability to change a game. So this is another one where one of the shareholders criticised Naismith and his substitutions and tactical decisions within a game. This is Joe Savage said he disagreed. I can actually see where Savage is coming from in this one, because I think you can point to the Aberdeen game where Naismith, I don't think he got his tactics right in the second half. I don't think he got his personnel choices with subs right in the second half. And then people will also look at the Edinburgh Derby where 2-0 up, drew 2-2. Again, they'll point to the Alex Lowry substitution. But on the flip side, you look at some of the key decisions he made. Key decision was bringing George Grattan off the bench at half-time against Livingston, helped Hearts' creativity, and they got better in that second half. The Alex Lowry off the bench against Kilmarnock in the League Cup scored the winner, and then the double substitution, I think it was a double substitution at Ross County, where Alex Lowry and Alan Forrest combined to score the winning goal. Both came off the bench. So I mean, you can see it from two sides of the view, where I can understand why Savage backed and maybe disagreed with the point from the shareholder and backed Naismith. But yeah, again, it comes back to an inexperienced manager maybe making the wrong choices. But at the same time, there's experienced managers who make poor tactical decisions in game and substitutions. David Clark says, did they do a breakdown of where Foundation Hearts money is going? Does Foundation Hearts money go to women's team and also hotel? No, they didn't do a breakdown of the Foundation of Hearts money. That might be something that could be brought up in the Foundation of Hearts AGM, which starts in 35 minutes. In terms of just on the women's team and the hotel, Andrew McKinlay brought this up without being prompted and said he understands that the women's football's not for everyone, and and there's a lot, obviously, people questioning why there is investment in the women's team, but at the same time, he pointed out that there's a lot of sponsors that get involved with the club because of the women's team. They see what Hearts are doing with. They see what Hearts are doing in terms of the community having this women's team, and that's attracted sponsors which have brought in money. I think it's a big thing for James Anderson as well. You see how involved he is in the women's game and with Glasgow City, so that's a big thing, and I think that's he's also through Bailey Gifford sponsored the Capital Cup between Hearts and Hibs women, so I think he might be a big driver of it. So yeah, I also think it does look good for outside sponsorships, partnerships, that Hearts do have a women's team and have that inclusivity. While the hotel, in terms of they didn't break down, as far as I can remember, how much the hotel was costing, but they did say that it's opening in February 2024, and in the first 4 months of its opening, and because that'll go into the 2023-24 accounts, that'll bring in £1 million worth of revenue, and then going forward it'll be Anne Budge said it'll be substantially more, but she wouldn't put a figure on it. So they do feel that the hotel was going to be a massive driver of revenue. So on kind of just going off on a tangent, Jackie Duncan spoke really, really well actually, and she kind of just did a breakdown on the kind of just proving the fact that the club do invest heavily in the football side of things, but they also need non-footballing things to or non-footballing income drivers to bring in money. That's a big thing for the hotel. The hotel is better being there rather than just laying empty, and to make that, they do have to make that initial investment to get it back, and the projections they feel they will bring they'll get a lot of money back from that. But again, we'll see how that kind of pans out. Was there any indication we bring in players injured in the next window? Right back, midfield and striker, surely. Yeah, touched on that earlier on. Right back's a priority, and I think in terms of the rest of the areas will depend on probably who leaves. But again, Naismith's looking to make room in the squad with the hope of bringing through younger players. Then why give Boyce a new deal? Because I think Boyce is a very good player. He's a really important player within the dressing room, and I think his absence, I think a lot of fans are beginning to understand how important he is. How important he is on the pitch and off the pitch. And again, you need to have a balance of experienced players and younger players. He's going to be key to helping younger players come through. His pace has never been a big thing, so I think he'll still be a key player, and you need to have players within the squad who understand what Hearts are about, have that experience. Boyce is one of them. Matthew Harold asks, if the young players aren't added to the squad after January, will the B team disbanded? No, the B team is in the hope. The club hope the B team is very much here to stay for the long term. Andrew McKinley said that he is in discussions with the Lowland League about a permanent solution for the B team rather than a year-to-year one. DW Jambo says, we are struggling for a right back and pace. Surely we can get more young players into the team now. They should be given the chance before the Drossview sign from abroad. We need goals. Kirk has scored a load for B. There's definitely players in the B team who I think are ready to contribute. I've said on here before that I think Mackenzie Kirk's probably one of those players who might need to go somewhere else in between the Lowland League and Hearts, because just he's not the type of player that's going to at the moment replace Lauren Shankland. I think he needs to bring more to his game and that kind of physicality element. But it's really encouraging the fact that he is a goal scorer. That's really important, and then that's a really important quality, and then you can work on the rest in terms of the physical side of things. But it's really encouraging. I think was there any mention of contract talks with Shankland? No, there wasn't at the AGM, but there was. So we sat down with Andrew McKinley afterwards, the written press did, and we asked him about Shankland and his contract talks. So I can't say anything because it's an embargo on it. So I will All I'll say is that there'll be a piece coming out on Hearts Standard at 10:30 p.m. tonight, which will give an update on Shankland and any potential contract talks. And Chris Somerville says we're totally devoid of pace and are unable to counter-attack. This is a massive reason why we only win by odd goal. I can't disagree with any of that, Chris. I do think we do lack pace in the final. Just across the pitch, I think we lack pace without the ball. We lack pace with it as well. So yeah, that's very true. Other than that, I'm trying to think of. I've gone through majority of the comments. I'm trying to think of anything else that was pertinent to discuss. I think important to kind of note Joel Savage. He took some responsibility and felt that said, I'll take criticism on board. Maybe some of the players we've signed have not met the standards we've set. This is a learning curve for me, and I take the criticism on board. I've deserved the criticism. It's not Steven or the coaching staff's fault that they aren't carrying it out. He wants to attack. So one of the questions was asked about Daniel Armstrong, Kilmarnock winger, who would actually, the way Hearts are playing just now with the back three, would very much suit the right wing back position. Savage revealed that it would cost 7 figures to sign him from Kilmarnock, which sounds about right. It's one of those where if you're buying players from other Scottish sides, then you're paying a premium. So when it comes to these players, Hearts are best operating, trying to get them on a free contract like they did with Sander Clark and Alan Forrest, guys who have performed well for other clubs in Scotland, and they ran down their contract. See, David Watson said Danny Armstrong is a must sign and a strain offset minimum. So yeah, Danny Armstrong would require a record-breaking deal from Hearts. Strain offset minimum is a good shout because he is out of contract at the end of the season. He is someone that you think would be an improvement again. Plays right wing back and plays right back. CG 1505, did he mention why they happened, if there are plans to fix the recruitment issues? No, I think the big thing is Hearts want to scour the entire market. They want to be innovative, bringing players from abroad, and again, it's bringing players maybe from Japan, Australia, Costa Rica. They may well be cheaper because, like I said, there's a premium to get Scottish players, but there's that balance because over the years, Hearts have recent years have signed, if not from the Scottish market, Scottish players: Kingsley, Mackay, Shankland, Sander Clark, Alan Forrest, Lewis Nielsen. They've signed players from down south, so there's that balance to be had. The recruitment department think these markets abroad will bring value for money. And again, I think it's still harsh to write off Vargas, Oda, and Tagawa so far, more so Tagawa and Vargas, because it's only been 6 months, and they have obviously there's that adaptation period. But you can, on the flip side, you can just turn back and say, then why are we signing players who take ages to settle? I can understand that point, but it's. Did they say how they're going to fix it? But no, I think there'll be a more focus on maybe players and how they would fit within Scottish football, because it is important that to come into Scottish football, you need to deal with the physical side of things. You need to be aggressive, play with tempo. So it'll be interesting to see how if the Hearts recruitment changes over the next next couple of windows. But Savage did say we definitely look in Scotland. I can promise you that when asked about it. He did say, I'll take the criticism forward and try to make sure we sign better players who we feel are fit to wear the Hearts jersey. The only other thing we can really say is next year's budget, there'll be a slight drop in revenue, but the staff costs are still they plan to increase them by £300,000, and donation not going to be so reliant on donations. They're going to drop below £6 million. So that was so that's kind of rundown of the AGM today. It was a bit all over the place, so I apologise for that. I was just going off vibes more than anything else. But we'll have more reaction from the AGM interview with Andrew McKinley on the site tonight. I'll probably be doing a kind of comment piece on how the AGM went, how the Foundation of Hearts AGM went, and of course on the website at the moment you can see the instant reaction where I kind of split in all the various things that happened at the AGM into different topics. So again, apologies for my rambling, but I thought I would jump on and give you a wee bit of background and context about the AGM today. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for continuing to support and subscribe Hearts Standard. Be sure to check out everything on the website over the next couple of days. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.